When I began my bird unit with my fourth grade students, I started with the QFT, the question formulation technique, which we talked about in our last class. So I began with a Q focus that basically said bird watching is the fastest growing sport in North America. That was what I asked them to think about. I showed them a picture of a bird that's included on the Google Doc that I'm sharing with you. And their questions, when they broke up into their groups, I had two groups, and their questions are here. Do any birds have a world record? What bird is the most intelligent? Which bird species has the most population? Which place is the most habitable for birds? What is the smallest bird? What is the dumbest bird? Can a bird have a disease? When do birds lay eggs? What percentage of people in the world like bird watching? Which state has the most bird watchers? Why is it so interesting? Why is it the fastest growing hobby in the US? How many species of birds are there? And you can see this was one group we went through and we labeled them by closed and open questions, which is part of the QFT process. The second group said, what kind of birds do they watch? What's the oldest bird ever? How did bird watching get so popular? Where do they watch birds from? When was the first bird born? What equipment do bird watchers need? Where do peacocks live? What is the fattest bird ever? What is the most popular bird to watch? Who is the most famous bird watcher? What is the largest bird? Where is the most popular place to watch birds? And what is the best bird? You can see here that these kids, when we went through the process, we divided them into open and closed questions. The secretary labeled that. They kept track. As I told you before, oftentimes you will have more closed questions than open questions. We talk about the need or the importance or benefits of having both open and closed questions. So that's perfectly okay. Um, and then from here, we actually looked through each of these questions and came up with an open question that they changed to a closed question that they changed to an open question. Now, from looking at the questions that they generated, I was able to determine what their background information was about birding and what they knew about birds. And based on these questions, there were some things that I thought that they would know that they didn't know. So when we came up with our plan for how to move forward, I looked at those questions that they were most interested in, and also those questions that addressed some of the topics that I wanted to cover in my unit. So the kid who came up with the question, what is the dumbest bird? He added that question as sort of a gag to sort of get a laugh out of everyone, but we actually had a really interesting conversation about how might scientists determine the intelligence of a bird? What tests might they do? And we did a whole spin-off on how would you figure out how smart a bird is? How would you keep track of that? What would that look like? So even the questions that you think you might not be able to use, you can still sort of find a way to fit into your unit. So look on for the rest of the Google Docs and you'll see where this adventure took us.